Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 561, The Reflection, Part 1, Intermediate. Emma loved her new apartment. It was small but cosy, with large windows that let in plenty of sunlight. The best part was the antique mirror hanging in her bedroom. It had an intricate golden frame and a slightly tarnished surface that gave it an air of mystery. Emma often stood in front of it, admiring how the light danced across its surface. One evening, as Emma prepared for bed, she glanced at the mirror. She gasped. Behind her reflection, she saw a figure, a tall, shadowy silhouette with glowing red eyes. She spun around, but the room was empty. Her heart pounded as she turned back to the mirror. The figure was gone. She tried to laugh it off, blaming her imagination, but the next night it happened again. This time the figure reached out, its long skeletal fingers pressing against the glass. Emma stumbled back, her breath catching in her throat. The figure's mouth opened wide, revealing rows of sharp teeth. It let out a blood-curdling scream, and Emma woke up with a start, her sheets soaked with sweat. The following days were a blur. Emily barely slept, jumping at every shadow. She avoided looking at the mirror, but she could feel the figure's presence watching her, waiting. One afternoon, she decided she'd had enough. She called a friend, Sarah, who was knowledgeable about the paranormal. Sarah arrived with a bag full of supplies, salt, sage, and a small bell. "We'll cleanse the apartment," she said, "but first, tell me exactly what you've seen." Emma described the figure, the glowing eyes, the screams. Sarah's face paled. "That sounds like a vengeful spirit," she said. "It's attached itself to the mirror. We need to banish it." They began the cleansing ritual, sprinkling salt around the apartment and burning sage. Sarah rang the bell, chanting softly. Emma felt a chill in the air and the lights flickered. Then a loud crash echoed through the room. The mirror shattered, sending shards of glass flying. Emma screamed, covering her face. When she looked up, the room was silent. The mirror was gone, replaced by a gaping hole in the wall. Sarah was pale but relieved. "It's gone," she whispered. "Whatever was in there, it's gone now." Emma nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling of unease. That night she slept fitfully, her dreams haunted by glowing red eyes. When she woke up, she noticed something strange. The pieces of the broken mirror were missing. The floor was spotless, as if nothing had happened. She called Sarah, her voice trembling. "The mirror pieces, they're gone." There was a long pause on the other end. "Emma," Sarah said slowly, "the mirror wasn't broken. It's still hanging on your wall." Emma turned to look at the mirror. Her reflection stared back at her. But behind it, the shadowy figure grinned, its red eyes burning brightly. Look out for part 2, next. Vocabulary notes. Admire, verb. Definition. To look at something with pleasure or approval. Example. Emma often stood in front of it, admiring how the light danced across its surface. Similar words. Appreciate, cherish, value, praise. Gasped. Verb. Definition. To take a sudden, quick breath, usually because of surprise or shock. Example. Emma gasped. Behind her reflection, she saw a figure, a tall, shadowy silhouette with glowing red eyes. Similar words. Panted, wheezed, exhaled, sucked in air. Silhouette, noun. Definition. The dark shape of someone or something seen against a lighter background. Example. Behind her reflection, she saw a figure, a tall, shadowy silhouette with glowing red eyes. Similar words: outline, profile, shadow, contour. Skeletal, adjective, definition, very thin, almost like bones. Example, this time the figure reached out, its long skeletal fingers pressing against the glass. Similar words: gaunt, bony, emaciated, skinny. Blood-curdling, adjective, definition, extremely frightening. Example, it let out a blood-curdling scream and Emma woke up with a start, her sheets soaked in sweat. Similar words: terrifying, chilling, horrifying, hair-raising. Blurred, verb, definition, to become unclear or indistinct. Example, the following days were a blur. Emily barely slept, jumping at every shadow. Similar words: fuzzy, hazy, indistinct, unclear. Unease, noun, definition, a feeling of worry or nervousness. Example, Emma felt a chill in the air and the lights flickered. Then a loud crash echoed through the room. Similar words: anxiety, discomfort, restlessness, nervousness. Cleansing, noun, definition, the process of making something clean or pure. Example, Sarah arrived with a bag full of supplies, salt, sage, and a small bale. "We'll cleanse the apartment," she said. Similar words: purification, sanitization, detoxification, sterilization. Vengeful, adjective, definition, seeking revenge. Example, Sarah's face paled. "That sounds like a vengeful spirit," she said. It attached itself to the mirror. Similar words: revengeful, retaliatory, malicious, spiteful. Fitfully, adverb, definition, in a restless or uneasy manner. Example, that night she slept fitfully, her dreams haunted by glowing red eyes. Similar words: restlessly, uneasily, agitatedly, nervously. Story written by Proton Lumo AI. Image created by Grok 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're not just telling a story, we're actually going to take it apart, piece by piece. We're going to deconstruct a really chilling short story to see what makes horror tick and how just a few well-chosen words can build an entire world of terror. You know, every great horror story kicks off with a simple, terrifying what if. And this one, it goes right for the throat. It attacks the one thing we all think we can trust, our own reflection. This is the simple idea that's about to completely unravel our character's world and maybe our own sense of security along with it. All right, so every horror story needs its stage. Ours starts in a place that should feel totally safe, Emma's new apartment. It's sunny, it's fresh, but the author immediately points our attention to one specific thing, a beautiful old antique mirror. It's got an air of mystery. And that right there is our first big clue. In horror, when an object gets this much spotlight, it's never just a piece of furniture. It's the trigger for everything that's about to happen. So, think about this. Before an author can really scare you, they have to make you feel safe, just so they can pull the rug out from under you. And the key word the author uses to do that here is admire. It's a word of peace, right? Of pleasure. This isn't just a description, it's a very deliberate move to make us lower our guard, so that when the horror does hit, it feels so much more shocking.
And right here, we see that exact strategy playing out. Emma's relationship with this mirror starts with admiration. The light danced on it. It's this beautiful, peaceful object in her new home. This moment of calm is what gives the coming storm all of its power.
And bam, there's the turn. The story gives us zero time to get comfortable. That whole sense of safety we just built up with the word admire, gone, just like that. The author doesn't gently lead us into the scary parts. They shove us right in. The ordinary becomes terrifying in a single night.
So how do you build that terror? Well, the author pulls out a classic horror movie tool, the silhouette. Why is this so dang effective? Because it withholds information. It's just a dark shape where a face and detail should be, which forces our own minds to fill in the blanks. The author doesn't have to describe the monster. They basically hand you a pencil and say, here, you draw it. And what we imagine is always worse, isn't it? Okay, now this is really clever. Notice the technique. We get the super vague, super creepy, shadowy silhouette, but it's paired with one very specific, horrifying detail: glowing red eyes. That single detail gives the formless shape a clear, malicious purpose. This is our first solid proof that whatever's in that mirror isn't just watching, it's hostile. So a quick jump scare is one thing, but it's not enough to keep you up at night. Effective horror has to build. It has to escalate. Now we're going to see how the author takes that initial shock and twists it into this feeling of complete, inescapable dread for Emma. The haunting is about to get a whole lot more personal.
Just look at how this timeline maps out the escalation perfectly. It's so deliberate. It moves from something passive, just seeing a shape, to an active physical threat with the fingers, and finally to a full-on auditory assault with the scream. The haunting is closing in, breaking through all of her defenses, one by one.
You know, in horror, word choice is absolutely everything. The author could have just said thin fingers, but instead they chose skeletal, and that's a huge difference. The word skeletal instantly fills your brain with images of death, decay, things that are unnatural. It's just one word, but it makes the threat feel monstrous.
And here we see that word put to terrifying use. Pressing against the glass. The spirit isn't just a shadow anymore. It's physically interacting with her world, trying to break through that barrier. The danger is suddenly real, tangible. I mean, it's right there, inches from her face.
So first it was what she saw, then what she could almost feel. Now the author goes after her hearing. And the phrase isn't just a loud scream, it's blood-curdling. The term itself makes you think of a sound so horrible it could literally make your blood run cold. This is the peak of the story's attack on our senses.
And what's so smart about this part is the confusion it creates. The screen wakes her up, so was it a dream or was it real? This completely blurs the line between her nightmares and her reality. It leaves her and us in this constant state of anxiety. Is she even safe when she's awake? Okay, so when the terror starts leaking from your nightmares into your real life, what do? You call for help, right? This marks a really important shift. Emma isn't just a passive victim anymore. She's starting to fight back. She's looking for a supernatural solution to a supernatural problem. Now this, right here, is a huge turning point. Her friend Sarah gives the entity something even scarier than red eyes, a motive. The word vengeful changes everything. A vengeful spirit isn't just a random monster. It wants something, it has a grudge. And suddenly, this isn't random anymore. It's personal. And boom, this line just confirms everything. The evil isn't just in the apartment. It's in the mirror. The exact same object that Emma used to admire is now revealed to be a prison or a gateway. The source of her fear was the source of her pleasure all along.
So here's the game plan, the counterattack. It's laid out in these clear, almost comforting steps. Salt, sage, a bell. This ritual gives them a sense of hope, a structure. They're trying to force some kind of order onto the absolute chaos that has taken over their lives.
And then we get the climax of the ritual. A loud crash, shattered glass. This is that moment of catharsis, right? That big release of all the tension that's been building. The physical destruction of the mirror seems to signal the destruction of the spirit. They faced the evil, and it looks like they won.
And Sarah's words, man, they let everyone, Emma and us, finally breathe. It's that moment of relief, the false ending. We believe the danger is gone. We believe they're safe. But are they? But this is where the story gets really, really cruel and brilliant. Because even after they've won, Emma still has this lingering feeling of unease. And that is a classic signal in storytelling that the happy ending we just saw might not be the real one. The story is not over. That feeling of unease, it's such a powerful tool in storytelling. After that big moment of victory, the author deliberately injects anxiety back into the scene. It's this quiet dread that's basically the author whispering in your ear, hey, don't relax just yet. And here it is, the twist. And it is absolutely devastating. On one side, you have what Emma believes, that she's safe. And on the other, the awful truth. The whole thing, the shattered glass, the victory, it was all a trick. A hallucination planted by the spirit itself. The mirror never broke, the spirit never left. And there you have it, the final, horrifying image. The spirit isn't just back, it's grinning. It's won. It played with her, it made her believe she was safe, all just to reveal it was in control the entire time. The true horror isn't the monster. It's that the escape was just another part of the trap.
So we end up right back where we started. But the question is so much more terrifying now. It's not just, what if the person in the mirror wasn't you? The real horror is what happens when the thing in the mirror can twist your reality, when it can make you believe you've won, just so it can laugh at you. I mean, what do you do when you can't even trust your own mind?